Hi, sir. Sorry to interrupt. We didn't
Okay,
hear you, sir.
got it, got it, got it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Gokila, for reminding me that it was on mute. Happy evening to everyone. Wonderful, wonderful to see all of you out there. Lovely. I would love to see all of you on camera mode so that we can all greet each other with a broad, beaming, radiating smile and pass on our energy of positivity. Lovely, lovely, lovely to see all of you there. Wonderful. I trust now all of you can hear me. You can see me on your screen as well. Just a quick response. Yes, if you can get right. If it's coming to you, yes, yes, yes. I can see a lot of yeses flooding in. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your responses. Lovely, lovely, lovely to have all your responses. Now, before we proceed further, we are here for 3 days and let's make the best out of it and make ourselves happy with a transformative mindset. And before we proceed further, I'd love to know from you which city you are from and your name, if you can write on that as well. Your name and the city you belong to right now, from which place you are connected. Mumbai, I can see Mike from Mumbai, Lokesh from Noida. Welcome, Mike Ji and Lokesh Ji. Wonderful, Sharda Ji. I think Venugopal Ji from Chennai, Bangalore. Prasanna Ji is from now. It's really, really moving fast. Every part of the country. Jyoti Ji from Mumbai. Tejasvi Ji is which place you from? Welcome, welcome everyone. Nisha Ji is from Sangli. Irfan Ji is from Kerala. Jafar Ji is from Kerala, Chennai. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I can see a lot of different places. Hyderabad, Belagavi, Guwahati. Welcome everyone. Kolhapur, Andhra Pradesh, Dehradun, Kerala, Goa, Bharuch, Telangana, Jammu. Wonderful. I think not a single state of the country is missing out there. Wonderful. Lovely, lovely to see a mini India out there. Wonderful to have all your presence. And let's get on to this happiness journey. Before we proceed, let me first welcome all of you to this fascinating journey that we're going to have for the next couple of days, today and tomorrow and day after. And in this period, let's learn something. And the best thing would be we'll apply that to ourselves and bring in some changes as we proceed through. With that thought, with that intent, let me now share the screen so that you can see the slide and we'll be on track as we are proceeding through all these 3 days. Lovely. I can see people from Nagpur, Jharsuguda, Odisha. Ravi ji is from, Vikas ji is from Nagpur, Bangalore. Afsana Begum ji is from Kolkata, and Naznir ji from Bangalore. Welcome everyone. Wonderful. Thank you. Shiva ji is from Coimbatore. So let's get on. Let me share my screen so that we can all see the screen and we will not be distracted, because sometimes something can distract us if we are not keeping a tracker. Yeah. Great, great, great. Thank you very much for all your responses. And that's what I'll be looking forward to all through these 3 days, because that would give me a sense that you are all with me and we are traveling together on this journey. Thank you very much. Welcome again, all of you, formally onto this journey of happiness, as we call it, the Happy Brain Miracle Masterclass. And before we start, let me give you a few of the ideas how we're going to proceed. I would urge all of you to keep your camera on. That actually has a science, that has a positivity. When we are seeing each other, there is a power which is also getting transmitted scientifically. I'll explain that on day 2 and day 3. There is something called mirror neurons. We'll talk about that. And at the same time, you also need to keep a pen and a notepad with you so that you can take down very important information which we may be sharing as we're going through. And your attention, your awareness is very, very important all through the sessions, and let's make the best out of it. Thank you very much once again. Happy New Year. We are just in the first month of the year, and let's make this year a wonderful, wonderful journey and bring in a magical change in our life. And that's a possibility as per science. With those thoughts, let's proceed further. Before we proceed further, again, there is not able to hear. Please write audio, video, good. Audio, video, good. If you can hear me, please write AVG. AV good. Yes. You can write AVG. It's not average. It's audio, video, good. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you, all of us. I think all of us were getting audio, video, and yeah, that's good to go. Thank you. Thank you. I just thought I'll check before we proceed. Great, great, wonderful. And first thing, let's appreciate why at all this masterclass. What is the reason? What is the need of this discussion at all on happiness? Why is it happening? There is a huge, huge reason why we are doing it. Not just me, not just you. Many people are now thinking about this, how to be happy in life because of this reason. The reason is millions and millions of people on this planet are suffering due to these conditions in the mind. I call them toxic, negative emotional conditions. Stress, anxiety, worry, anger, irritation, guilt, shame, depression, fear, boredom, lethargy, and the list goes on. All these things are happening in our mind, and we are suffering on account of that. Now, when we look at a scientific explanation of this, why this is happening, what is the reason? So many people are now stressed, having anxiety, having worry, having depression. What is the reason? One of the things that we can clearly find out is this. Not necessarily because of external circumstances or bad fortune or lack of money or things of that sort, but what actually is creating a problem is our internal thing inside the brain, our lack of skill to train our brain to be happy, our lack of skill to train our brain to be happy. If you agree with this, just write TBH, train the brain to be happy, TBH, if you agree with this. We can train the brain to be happy. Unfortunately, this is not there in our academic curriculum. We don't know how to train our brain. It's not any scientific neuroscience or something. It is just simple techniques, processes, and practices which can make our brain happy. But now, scientifically, we understand that, and we can do it with certain simplistic technique and steps. Great, TBH. Now, having understood this much, having knowing this much that yes, you all agree with me. Now, I have been saying this. These are there in many people who are having anxiety, worry, sorrow, anger, fear, restlessness, sleeplessness, guilt, shame, all these things, panic, depression, all these things are happening in the brain of many of us. I term there are two kinds of brain, happy brain and unhappy brain. And mostly the happy brains are the trained brains. Generally, if you have not trained our brain, it will be in the unhappy territory. Now, we will train our brain to be happy, meaning it will be calm, relaxed, focused, organized, balanced, joyful, creative. All these things would be there in our brain rather than all these things which are causing agony, pain, and discomfort inside. Yeah, this would be our journey. This would be our process as we are going through 3 days of the Happy Brain Miracle Masterclass. Now, I have been uttering this word, the science of happiness, and many people ask me, is it actually true there is a science called the science of happiness? Yes, it is not very much popular, or it is not known to many people now, but now it is really gathering momentum all across the globe, in every major university across the globe, including Harvard, Princeton, Wales, Toronto University, Yale, Canberra University, all these, Oxford, Cambridge, everywhere you'll find the science of happiness is being pursued. And in India, we have IIT Kharagpur, who are the pioneer in this. IIT Kharagpur, they have a center called the Center of Excellence for the Science of Happiness, and there they have curriculum for the science of happiness. I had the privilege to learn it at IIT Kharagpur, to go through and learn it from the best of the best in the world. The top experts of happiness I could interact with, learn from them. Not just that much, I also had the privilege to collaborate with them and conduct workshops and retreats and many, many communication programs based on the science of happiness at different places in the country. And this science of happiness is based on positive psychology, the positive aspects of the psychology, cognitive neuroscience. Again, this is a very emergent science, new science, which tries to find out what is happening in the brain for our experience and expression. What is happening so that I can speak? Which part of my brain is activated? What is happening so that I'm happy or I'm unhappy? What part of my brain is activated when I'm angry or when I'm calm? All these things we can now observe to a certain extent using certain modern gadgets. And that's what cognitive neuroscience is doing. And now we can understand what is it that makes us happy or unhappy. Behavioral economics, a part of branch of economics, primarily the psychological aspects of economics, and Eastern meditative wisdom. The very part that we are living in, a lot of meditative practices have been followed, and now the science of happiness trying to research on them, trying to find out what are the things, and now phenomenal results are coming through the practices which have come from this very land. And that's what also part of this science. Very fascinating science. It's bringing science and spirituality together. It is science, spirituality together, and it talks about creating. It's not just, I'm saying, only meditative practices. It actually takes inputs from every part of the spiritual processes, every part of the globe, and trying to find out, yes, there are a lot of power in all these processes, and this is making us happy. To an extent, research is happening. So science, spirituality coming together. It's a fascinating science, and it is empowering. Science, spirituality, fascinating science, and it is empowering. And that's what we are going to learn through. And we'll see through this, we can to an extent measure what is the degree of our happiness, why we are suffering in which areas. That's what we will do in this very course. You'll find out what are those areas, what is the measurement of that, how much you are suffering in that area, and how we can come out of it, which power we can use to come out of it. That's what we are also going to learn through this course. So degree of objectivity, measuring this happiness to an extent, and how we can improve that. So this is, as I said, it's a science which is very interesting, very fascinating, and empowering. We can all write SFE. SFE means science which is fascinating and empowering. That's more important. It will give us the power so that we can work on ourselves. And we will learn many aspects of ourselves as we are proceeding through this very session. Lovely, lovely to see all your responses flowing in, flooding in. Great. Now, having said that, as I said, at IIT Kharagpur, I had the opportunity to learn from the best of the best people in the world, including Dr. Samdu Chetri. If you've heard of this name, the person who is there at the center of the screen, if you can look at the person in the maroon attire, and I'm in the black t-shirt. He's Dr. Samdu Chetri, and from whom I learned a lot of things, apart from other experts in the world. And he was the first director of the Gross National Happiness Center at Bhutan. It's one of its kind, which does research on how to make people happy, how to measure gross national happiness center. As we are measuring the gross domestic product or gross national product, in Bhutan, they measure the gross national happiness. And now it's being spread all across the globe. And Dr. Samdu Chetri is one of the top respected, regarded figures in the domain of the science of happiness. And I had the privilege to work with him. And this was his I can say this was his blessings to me, as at the first instance itself, we had a joint retreat where he said, Sandip is a great teacher of happiness and mindfulness. I witnessed his teaching at Netherhart and was not only impressed, but learned from him. It was his blessing, his kindness, his greatness, and humility. And he literally, when he talks to me, he says, I learned from you, but it was only his gratitude. I have all the respect and regard from this wonderful, wonderful, powerful scientist. So having said that, in 2020, I actually came to this mission. Now, would you like to know how I came here? How I came to IIT Kharagpur to learn these things? in 5 minutes or 3-4 minutes, would you like to know my journey? Because I was not a psychologist. I was in corporate. Would you like to know that? Yeah. Yes, I can see some people already responding. Yeah. How? Let me just thank you. Thank you for allowing me for that. Let me just take you through a quick idea how I came to this. In 1993, after completing my engineering, I joined corporate. It was a huge, large corporate house, Steel Authority, where I started my journey and worked there for 27 years. 93, I started my career, and in just about 6-7 years, I had some problem. The problem was I was growing in the career, I was doing all good in my professional life, even to a certain extent in my family life, but I was having stress, anxiety, and also my blood pressure level were very high. So much so that at the age of 28, I started taking medicine for high blood pressure. And this continued. Then I put on a lot of weight. In 2008, that means 15 years of my job completed, I was 93 kilograms of weight and my height is only 5 feet 7 inches. 93 kilograms of weight. And I was having a lot of internal disturbance, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, not having energy, always feeling panicky and fearful and stressed. All these were happening. Externally, it was not visible, but I was sensing it inside. And 2008, one incident actually transformed everything. It was in 2008. I was in Delhi, working in New Delhi that time. And I was on a pleasure trip to Jim Corbett National Park along with my family. And we landed up in Jim Corbett National Park. We arrived there in a resort, wonderful resort. And in the afternoon, almost close to evening, they asked us to join for a nature walk. On foot, you get into the jungle. And from that resort, we started. That time, my younger son was only 1.5 years old. So my wife could not come. Only me and my elder son, who was about 7 years old at that point in time, we entered into the jungle along with the group of about 20 people. All of them were adults except for my son. And as we entered, it was okay. But after some time, we entered into little dense forest. And because of certain communication gap, we lost the connect. We actually missed out from the group. And they moved ahead. We could not catch up. And so much so that we could not know which direction to move towards to get to the resort. And following my gut feeling, I moved in one direction, but unfortunately it was the wrong direction. We actually came to a place where there was a dry river bed. And to add to this terrible thing, there was a tiger nearby within about 50 meters. And that was probably one of the most scariest moments in my life, most dreadful moments I experienced in my life. And that time I was feeling like losing my sense. I was feeling like nausea. I was trembling, shivering, and I thought it's all the end. It's going to end. But thankfully at that moment, something happened. I don't know for what reason I said, no, I cannot just die like this. Let me take charge of myself. I just tried to calm myself down, remembered some of the techniques from some books. I tried to calm myself down, and then I was a little better. And I could recall that I used to read a lot of Jim Corbett book earlier in my childhood. That Jim Corbett and Kenneth Anderson, both books I used to read, they were jungle masters. That whenever you encounter or you see a tiger nearby, better to talk at the peak of your voice, giving a sense that you know it is there. And there are many people, you are not just one. So you are ready to face. So I started talking at the peak of my voice at that point in time. And miraculously, my mobile also rang. It was in the midst of the forest in 2008. There was a little signal. Somehow somebody called me and I disconnected the call actually and tried to connect to the resort. I conveyed them that we are lost and on a dry river bed and tiger around. Please save us, SOS. That much I could convey. And again, the mobile got disconnected. But to our great fortune, grace, they could save us at the nick of the time. And there was reasons why and how they could save us. It was almost like dark that time. They could save us because I could clearly direct them. Again, the mobile intermittently got connected. I told them how to reach us by, I said, rotate your light. I could see them at a distance. Rotate your light and move in the direction so that they could reach us exactly, probably the nick of the time, and we got saved. And that was the turning point. That night, that day, I was thinking that life is so unpredictable. We all know that, but I experienced that. That was kind of an experience I went through, that it was almost like a second life, one. Two, I was really fascinated by this mind. This mind saved me on that day. Because I could calm myself down, I could direct them, I can ask them to come in the right direction. I could speak at the peak of my voice to keep the tiger at a distance and probably delayed the process. So that saved our life. So after immediately coming back, I thought I have to change my career from marketing. I was working in marketing, and start delving into the depth of the mind, understand what is there inside the brain and mind. That's how I could come to this. And if this story was scary and interesting, and also it was life-changing for me, if you find like that, just write SI, scary, interesting, and life-changing, SIL. This was actually something I still, when I speak, when I narrate this, I can sense the inner feeling, goosebumps on my body, because that was something would have an end of everything, but it changed. It changed many things in my life. I came back to Delhi after, getting back to Delhi. I went to Crosswords. I still remember that day. Went to Crosswords. I procured 105 books. Anything that was related to mind, I just bought it. Anything that was related to neuroscience, I bought it. Anything that was related to ancient spiritual philosophies and meditative practices, I just bought it. 105 books, almost like 36,000 rupees, including many of the foreign authored books, very expensive. And the Crossword fellow was pretty confused. He says, "Are you buying it for a library?" I said, "No, it is for my personal development." And not just I bought them, I completed most of them, 66 books in the first year itself. Before that, I used to not read at all. Very rarely I used to read, but that was the moment when I thought, it's now time for me to do something which I want, and which is what changed me. And 2008, I changed from marketing and went to become a faculty in the Management Training Institute in the same company where it used to train the senior level management, and became a senior faculty. And later on, I also became the head of academics of that institute. And that time I could collaborate with IIT Kharagpur and got trained in the science of happiness. And that actually organized many things for me, gave me many queries, and questions got resolved in my mind. And then 2020, I chose to quit and start Academy of Unlimited Mind, with a mission that we will impact more than 1 lakh people, giving them this idea, this knowledge that we can transform ourselves, applying certain things in our life. So that was the journey that I had been through. And at the same time, life transformational. Now, coming to the course, coming to what we are going to do in these 3 days, let me tell you what are the 3 days curriculum, one after the other. Day 1, that is today, we will understand the history of the negative mind, as we discussed. What is the reason that our mind is negative? To an extent, we understand that. And one framework, we'll understand that why our mind is negative, and we'll measure that. We'll understand why our mind is negative, we'll measure that. What is the element which is making us stressed, anxious, worried, sad, or whatever, depressed? What are those things which is leading to that? We'll try to figure that out. That's one thing that we'll do. It's a framework known as human trap. And we will also do a powerful practice today. We will do it inside this session, and that is something which I'll explain scientifically on day 3. But that technique will follow today. That is the thing that we're going to do today. Tomorrow, we are going to look at the mind and the brain. We'll understand little about the structure of the brain. Very quickly, we'll understand that. And we'll try to figure out what are the different compartments of mind and how to handle them appropriately, balance them appropriately. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. And we'll also unfold the miracle formula. If you know the human trap, then it has to be untrapped. And miracle formula, again, is the formula which will help us come out of the human traps. That's what we will discuss tomorrow. And day after tomorrow, we will apply how we can apply this formula and bring into our life. Is there any tool? Is there any mechanism which will help us implement that? Yes, that's what we're going to do on day 3. We call it audit and edit the mind. So mind, we have to first audit, we have to observe the mind, then change certain things in the mind. Those tools will be shared on day 3. And I'll give you one thing, I'll tell you one thing, that this is a 3 days course. But let me very clearly tell you that 3 days is not sufficient to change everything within you. What you need to do is to learn this and apply this on you and apply this in your life as well. For that, we are also going to share a roadmap for implementation of the miracle formula, which will be shared with all of you on day 3. So these are the 3 days. On day 3, the session will be longish. Today and tomorrow, our duration will be about 1 hour to 75 minutes at most. But last day, it will be little more than maybe 90 minutes. 90 minutes, it may go up to even about 100 minutes, 115 minutes. Reason being, 2 more additional things will be there. One, we will have interaction. All your questions, queries, whatever you have, we will be addressing that on day 3. Day 3 also, I'll be sharing one more aspect, that is our advanced course, which is there in our Academy of Unlimited Mind and Life Wheel. Any one of you who is interested, inclined to join us for a mentorship program, we'll be offering that. But let me tell you very clearly, it is absolutely not mandatory. If you are interested, keen to join us, you are free to join us and most welcome to join us. So these 2 things will add up. So we'll have a longish session on day 3. Is it clear? Is this course curriculum so far clear? Day 1, we are first becoming aware of why we are negative or why there are negative emotions in our mind. What is the primary reason for that? Number 2, what is that we need to do which will help us come out of that negativity, which we'll learn tomorrow, miracle formula. And day 3, how to bring in this change. So day 1, what is the problem? Day 2, the diagnosis. Day 3, we will see how to actually go for a change in the mind, bring in happiness, implement happiness. If it is clear, if you understood this, just write CC, means crystal clear. If you understood, it's very important that we understand this journey. Yeah, CC, crystal clear. Thank you very much for your fast and quick response. Great. And day 3, as I mentioned, we have shared a lot of people must have got bonuses, and all these bonuses will be shared with you on day 3. That will be shared, including the book, which is the Happy Life Miracle Formula book. And this book now has crossed 10,000. Now it's really, really making a lot of impact on many people's life. We are going to share with you for free. And all other bonuses will be shared with you on day 3. So please be there on day 3. We'll be sharing it to you. Now, responses vary. This is a statement, meaning that under the same problem, same challenge, same event, same catastrophe, same difficulty, 2 individuals, one person is so composed, calm, responding in a very matured manner, internally very still, and knows what to be done, how to speak, what are the things that to be organized, and internally very settled, although he's in the same challenge. Whereas another person, the same context, same situation, same problem, completely thoroughly shaken by that, internally torn, as if there is a lot of agitation going in, unable to respond properly. And not just that, he is unable to come back from that setback. 2 different individuals having completely 2 different approach to the same situation or same problem. If you agree with this, just write A. A means agree. just write A. If you agree with this, that this is something which happens. Two different individuals, same problem, but having completely two different expression and experience. Science of happiness actually tries to find out this. What are those differentiating factors, elements? Why one person is so settled, the other person is so agitated? One person is bouncing back so fast, the other person is completely has gone to a shell, unable to come back. Why is it happening? That's what Science of Happiness says. But let me add one more thing. It's not even two different individuals. Not even two different individuals, same person under two different mindset will have completely two different approach. Under one mindset can be calm, and under another mindset can be very agitated. The example I took of the Jim Corbett incident. The same Sandip Dash, under the first instance, when I was completely shaken, trembling, feeling like I'll fall down, losing my sense to an extent, and on the second set of mind condition, I was calm, responding appropriately, doing the right things, and very clearly, creatively, I was working at that point. So it's more about that mindset. And we are going to look at that. If it sounds like wow, let us all write WOW. And this also is a hack. When we say wow like this, we also change certain internal state and we become happy wherever we are. When we say wow, raising our hands, there's some chemical and internal changes that happens. We call it kinesthetic changes, and that makes us happy. Let's do that hack. Let's write WOW and say wow to once. Close your eyes and say wow. That's a brilliant thing to do. Many times we can do that. And that's this wow. Why I say wow? Because wow is the mirror image of a word mom, M-O-M, mom. And the mom here stands for master of your mind. Master of your mind. Let's all become the mom and let's bring in a brilliant change in our life. Let's all write MOM. Yeah, the mirror image also, let's all write. MOM is master of your mind, become the master of your mind, and let's bring that power to us. We are going to discuss some superpowers. Day 3, we are going to discuss about 3 superpowers, which will help us becoming the master of our mind. Even tomorrow, we are going to discuss a very fundamental technique, which we'll do inside the session itself, which will help us completely calm ourselves down. Whatever may be the condition, we can calm down within less than 5 minutes. So thank you very much for the fantastic response and for the commitment to become the mom. Now we are coming to the human trap. As I mentioned, we will discuss about the human trap. It's an acronym. That means it's a short form. Human is a short form, and we will open one after the other. One after the other, we'll go to that and we'll see what exactly does that mean. And then we will learn that, understand that clearly. So before we start unfold the human trap, I would urge and request all of you to be completely ready for this. That means you should be ready with your notepad, pen. For the next about 30 minutes, we'll completely be with this process. With all your attention, with all your awareness, and without getting distracted. So let's all write ready to go for it. RTG, ready to go. Because I would need all your attention and your involvement as we're discussing this very important framework, which is fundamental and foundational. That means if you understand this, then we can work tomorrow and day after very well. And this is awareness. We will know about our mind a lot. And as scientists say, there is a scientist, his name is Dr. Richard Davidson. He's one of the most regarded, respected scientists in the domain of contemplative neuroscience. That means the research on the mind when mind thinks, when mind meditates, when mind is doing something, they They work at the mind's thinking level and do research. Dr. Richard Davidson has authored, along with Dr. Daniel Goleman, a powerful book, and the name of the book is The Science of Meditation. All of you can take note of this. Sometime you can choose to read this. Interesting, very interesting book. The Science of Meditation, where he says that how he has come to India along with Dr. Daniel Goleman so many times to do research and do practice, understand what contemplative aspects of Indian philosophies mean. So it's a very, very powerful, interesting book, The Science of Meditation. Dr. Richard Davidson, I took his name because he says, if you are aware of yourself, if you are aware of your mind, half of the problem of the mind is solved. If you are aware of the mind, half of the problem of the mind is solved. Let's all just listen to this. If you are aware of your mind, half of the problem of your mind is solved. Today, we are going to be aware of our mind. What is it happening which is causing those misery, agony, pain, discomfort, anxiety, worry, depression, sadness, anger? All these things are happening in the mind. What is the source of that? That's what we are going to look at using a framework called human trap. And each one of these we will look at. Again, this is based on neuroscientific research. More than 500 different research papers have been studied to come to this. We are not going into that research. We are not getting into the scientific aspects. We are going to look at our experience so that we can understand and apply. Yeah. Thank you for writing RTG, ready to go for this. Now we'll go for H. H stands for holding on trap. Holding on trap. Let us understand this. Holding on trap is, in our brain, there are certain mechanisms which remembers past thing. That means they go back in the timeline, bring some past memory, which are typically negative memories, bring to the present moment, and they run them in the present moment, and we suffer from that. Holding on trap. Past memory, we bring that chunk of memory, and in the present moment we suffer, we run that memory and suffer. We just cannot let it go. It comes and, oh, that thing happened. Somebody scolded me. Somebody misbehaved with me. Somebody cheated me. Boss misbehaved with me in the office last week. Still, I'm suffering from that. I lost a promotion last year. Still, I'm suffering from that. Somebody cheated some money from me a few months ago. Still, that is hurting me. All these things of the past coming to the present through some mechanism, through some neural pathways, and they bring them, we suffer in that. We call it the holding on trap, because we hold on to that memory for a longer period of time to suffer. Let me give an example here. How old it can be. A gentleman in one of my workshops, he came to me during the tea break and very close to me saying that, Sandip, I could not gather my courage to tell you in the class. For last 20 years, I have been suffering from holding on trap because of a reason. I actually messed up with my IAS interview. He qualified in the UPSC, was in the interview board, facing the interview board. In the interview, he was doing exceedingly well. His name is Tripathi. Tripathi was doing exceedingly well. And first 30 minutes, almost he was hinted that you are qualified and you will be a great administrator. The last 5 minutes, the chairman of the board asked something and he replied something. Then there was little argument. And at some point, he actually got flared up, become very angry and used some abusive languages. At that moment, the chairman smiled. He said, just I was trying and testing you. Sorry, Mr. Tripathi, you have all good qualities, but you cannot become an administrator because you lack maturity. Then he got a shock. He said, what did I do? And Tripathi, when he was telling me, he was having tears in his eyes, said that, Sandip, every morning I get up, this thought comes to me and I suffer from this. I said, Tripathi, is it prudent to go for this kind of a pain for 20 years? He said, no, I know this is not at all something which I should do, but I am helpless. I cannot just drop this. This haunts me every morning and I dislike my job. He was a very senior executive in a corporate, very senior executive. He was, I think, associate vice president in a company. But he said, it just doesn't give me any sense of nothing. I'm just going there, but I'm not enjoying my job. Every morning I feel this. If you understood this, what is holding on trap? Something, it may not be that old, it might have happened yesterday. Some of us, we have a tendency to go back in the memory and find out something to suffer, because there is a neural pathway inside. There are certain neural pathways and organs which mediate this. And this is holding on trap. Holding on trap makes our life miserable. HMLM. If you understood this, holding on trap makes our life miserable. HMLM. If you understood what I exactly mean by this, HMLM, if you can write, that means I would appreciate that you understood what I tried to narrate. There are certain things of the past, they come to the present moment, and we ruminate. We start running that thought like a reel, like a movie, and suffer in that. Many people. I have seen so many, not just one Tripathi. That was the example I just narrated. So many of us, we have the tendency to bring something from the past, some relationship issue, some fight, some altercation, something, and we suffer. Even what happened in the morning, some people always live in the past. What happened in the morning, and that will always chop. It will have some story going on in the mind. Yeah. It makes life miserable. Always we suffer because we bring some negative past. Yeah. Great. So that is holding on trap. Now we move on to the next one. Uncertainty trap. U stands for uncertainty trap. What is this? I call this a mirror image of the holding on trap. Holding on trap, something from the past we bring to the present and suffer in that. And uncertainty trap, we create a pathetic future in our mind. We create a future which is hopeless, which is dangerous, and which is very maybe devastating. We create that, and then we suffer in it. It is just the mirror image. That means now I would feel, oh my God, tomorrow there is a presentation, I will mess it up. There'll be something which will be happening next month. Let's say an examination will come, and I will start saying that I'll not be doing good in that. I will lose that. I'm going to face an interview or make a presentation, go to a meeting. All the time I feel something wrong will happen with me. Not just that. I look at, if I lose my job, what will happen? If I lose money, what will happen? What will happen to my health? What if I die? What will happen to my family? Everyone will die. Everyone may have disease, but some people have the tendency to always think there'll be something wrong happening in the future. There may be an element of truth in that, maybe some element of truth, but is it prudent to do that? In the last 2.5 years, I have worked with so many people, especially during the COVID time. This was at the peak. Even now it is at the peak. So many people are suffering from anxiety because of this uncertainty. And let me tell you, these are at the body level. Even you cannot think of why you are feeling so panicky, because at the body starts feeling uncertain. And uncertainty trap, unfortunately, creates a miserable future. It creates a hopeless future. Uncertainty trap, it will create a hopeless future. Why? Because we become hopeless. We feel that something wrong will happen. So we shut down all the things that are required for the future. Our immune system will be subsided. So we'll catch all those, fever, the cold and cough and many things. Our immune system will be shut down because we try to overthink, and we will discuss about that tomorrow, how our immune system is suppressed when we start getting into all this negative terrain. So one, we shut down our immune system, our creativity also will be shut down. So all these things that we need to have a positive future, we will stop that. We cannot study. So naturally we'll make a mess in the examination as well. So uncertainty trap, it leads or it creates a hopeless future. UCHF. We are creating an unfortunate future because we are getting into uncertainty trap, suffering in the present, making our future hopeless. Just try that. Please, if you understood this, uncertainty trap, UCHF, it creates a hopeless future because we create that. We create that. As they say, manifestation, we manifest a negative thing in life because all the resource that we need, we are suppressing that. All the thing that is required for us to progress, we are not using them. And we are then creating. Yeah, many people, as you said, that is happening with me for every day last month. It is something that we have to really take charge of, and it is a possibility. Don't get disturbed by what we are learning today, because this is what will give you the clarity and understanding. Let me assure you, we can all come out of this. That's the great news, good news, powerful thing, that the power is within only. We just need to discover, apply some techniques, and these things can be handled with ease, with simplicity, and with a scientific process. That's what we are going to look at. But appreciate, what is it? It is causing the misery and pain in my life. That's what we are understanding. It is the awareness that helps us come out of the problems, 50% of the problem or more, as Dr. Richard Davidson would put it. Yeah. Now, after uncertainty trap, we are getting into another trap. It's called me and my relationship trap. Unfortunately, relationship actually is something which supports our life, which helps us to live our life in a society. But the sad part of it is, relationship also leads to agony, pain, misery, and suffering. A lot of us, we suffer in relationship. Where do we suffer? Only in 3 dimensions of relationships. We'll see 3 dimensions of relationships today, and we suffer in those relationships. You'll be amazed to know that we suffer in dimension number 1, which is loving relationship. In loving relationships, we suffer. I love my son, I love my daughter, I love my wife, I love my father, mother, brother, sister, I love them. But in that loving relationship, I also do suffer. My son is not obeying. I want him to do something, he's doing something else. Watching the television all the time, I'm suffering. Then my wife, I have some expectation, is not getting fulfilled, suffering. Somebody, my friend, little criticized me, I'm suffering. All this happen in the loving relationship domain. I suffer in loving relationships. In-laws and friends and parents and so many dynamics of relationship in the loving domain, we suffer. So suffering in loving relationships. The second one is suffering in hateful relationship. Hateful, hatred. Your boss, sometimes the in-laws, sometimes an enemy, neighbor, competitor, somebody who is a terrible person, colleague, a junior, your maid. You hate that person, but you are helpless. You have to be with him or her. There are hatred. I'd give an example. Sanjay, one of the person who joined me in my advanced course, he was terribly depressed. And the reason of depression was his boss. His boss was a tyrant. Sanjay would get up in the morning having no energy. He said, oh my God, I have to go to my office again. And his boss is there waiting for him, as if he'll pounce on him and abuse him in public, in meetings. He would give them the nastiest of tasks. And then at the end of the day, he would say, stay back, talk to me. And all these things happened. And Sanjay was having high blood pressure. He was having depression, taking pills to sleep. All these things were happening with him because he was suffering in hateful relationship. And the good news is Sanjay could come out of it applying certain techniques of the miracle formula. And this is a possibility with all of us. So we suffer in loving relationships, we suffer in hateful relationships, and we suffer in lost relationships. Lost. Somebody died, and that relationship creating such vacuum that I'm suffering in that. Somebody deserted me, maybe breakup. I'm suffering in that breakup. And nowadays I see another trend, elderly people, their children are away, maybe in some other country abroad, or in the country, but engaged so much in their own life, they have hardly got any time to talk to them. And these people are suffering because of that loss of relationship. So we are suffering in 3 relationships: suffering in loving relationships, suffering in hateful relationships, and suffering in lost relationships. If you understood this, let's just reflect. Today's thing is just to reflect, where am I suffering? Just to know that much can give us a lot of empowerment. As scientists say, awareness is empowerment. The moment you know what is the cause of the thing, you are empowered. The moment the doctor diagnoses the thing, the doctor is empowered, the patient also gets a chance that he will be treated appropriately. Today, we are diagnosing the source of our agony, pain, misery, anxiety, worry, depression, stress, everything. Only 6 possibilities are there. We are going to each one of them. So this is the 3rd one, suffering in relationships. LHL stand for loving relationship, hateful relationship, and lost relationship. If you understood this, yes, LHL, wonderful. Already response is coming in. You are getting conversion with my terminology. Thank you so much for that. Preempting and writing. Thank you, Anil Kumarji. Great. Yeah. Supradipta ji is saying, what is loving relationship? In loving relationship is when I love a person, but still in that love I suffer. Even sometimes I love somebody who is suffering because of some disease. I suffer more than that. I love somebody who is failing. Like somebody recently, I was talking to, his son was doing miserably in the studies and he is suffering. He has a lot of pain because his son is not doing well, not getting a job. Yeah. So these are the things we see, that we love some people and suffer in that loving relationships. Yeah. Great, great. But before we proceed further, just I would love to have a quick feedback. So far, is it seeming valuable and making sense? So far, whatever we are learning, is it giving you some kind of value? Are you getting something? Just write VMS, valuable and making sense. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great, great, great. Thanks. Now moving on to the next one, HUMA. A stands for autonomy trap. Autonomy trap. Autonomy means freedom. All of us, we want freedom in life. Unfortunately, in the modern lifestyle, hardly we have got freedom for ourselves. Go to the office and you are on some flow. You do not have choice. Just have to go through that flow. Somebody else is dictating the terms. So many tasks are taking away your time, your personal time, your family time, and your peace of mind, what you want and what you're doing. There is a big dissonance. And we are stressed in today's life because our sense of freedom is going away. Mark my words, our sense of freedom is going away. I'm going on, even while going to office, so much of traffic jam. I want to reach office at the time, but beyond my freedom, I cannot choose that. Whether you are in corporate and business, you are a teacher, you're a professional, you're a doctor, lawyer, whatever you are, or you are a homemaker. Homemakers are more stressed, so much of tasks. Whether you're a house husband, housewife, there's so much of things you have to take charge of. No time for the self, no time for your health, no time for reflection, no time for doing what you want, your hobbies. That's what we call the autonomy trap. In today's time, this is causing a lot of stress. So if you see, people are stressed primarily because of this. We have so much of tasks, multitasking. We are just juggling from one to the other, not getting time, starting the day and ending the day without having any clue where we are going, what is happening to our life. And that's one of the reasons of our pain. If you understand this, just write the pain of no freedom, PNF, pain of no freedom. This is what is happening in today's life. Just check, are you also part of it? We will give you a template to find out your status, where we are actually getting that pain. Yeah, PNF. It is about, yeah, I can see Hirilkarji. Hirlekarji. Okay, you were saying, can you please explain again? It is about multiple tasks that come in our way. You go to office with a plan. Suddenly the boss asks, come for a meeting, and the meeting takes the entire day. Then the boss in the later part of the evening, oh, have you finished that job? You have to complete it today. Now you have to sit for another 2 hours to complete it. Then you see that you are not getting the cab back to office, back to home. So we are struggling through our life, not having choices. It's taking away our choices. Today's lifestyle is taking away our choices. So what I want and what I'm doing, there is a lot of gap. So what we call autonomy trap, our freedom is being snatched away because of the lifestyle, because of the office, because of the others' responsibility. This I call responsibility trap also. My responsibility is so much, or my sense of or notion of responsibility is so much, I do not have actual time for me. Even for eating, having proper sleep, no time. We are struggling through life, and suddenly we realize everything, we are now old. So this is autonomy trap, which we are suffering from. Coming to the next one. Name, fame, status, identity, position. These are the names you can give to this trap, which I call the N trap: name, fame, status, identity, position trap. So name, fame, status, position, identity trap is this. In the society, we want a status. We work for our status, let me tell you. For money and also for status. Money gives us status. So we want a status. I want to be better than the other. I want to have a social position. I want to have an identity. This, by some reason, if it comes down a little, we suffer miserably. I normally term it as identity trap. I'll give a very pathetic example to make you appreciate this. Very unfortunate example, but it happens so much nowadays that this example actually makes sense. We see on the newspaper or on a news channel on television that some brilliant student, maybe in top institute, like a premier institute like IIT, IIM, AIMS, Indian Institute of Sciences, has committed suicide. So unfortunate. Why this brilliant person has committed suicide? So many of them are depressed for sure, but why this is happening? Why this depression and suicidal tendency coming to them? Let's look at the background. Let's look at their history. Right from the childhood, everyone says he's brilliant, absolutely amazing mind, brilliant thinking mind. He is bright. The parents, teacher, neighbors, students, friends, everyone would say he's amazing, outstanding. And he also, or she also cracks one of the toughest examination to get into the top premier institute. Suddenly, after getting there, he or she finds as if everyone is equal there. Everyone is brilliant. No branding of exceptional, brilliant, or outstanding, or bright is there now. Even sometimes the teacher, the professor says, are you a dumb fellow? Do you have a mind? Do you have a brain? Or you have just come like that? Where from have you come? Now see what has happened. Identity where you are a brilliant, bright, extraordinary person, suddenly you have become a dumb fool or somebody who is a buffoon. This is death of an identity. Do you see that? Death of an identity. And when there is a death of an identity happening, when you're losing your identity and falling in that hierarchy of identity, internally you also trigger a sense of dying, sense of status being lost, sense of completely getting depressed, completely getting into your shell. No meaning, value, your worth is now shattered. That's what is the identity trap. If you can handle this alone, if all of us, we can handle this alone, we can handle so many other things with ease. I call this as the most important trap. In today's era, this is the most important trap. So I call it identity is paramount. Identity is paramount, which is decided by the society around us. And that identity, the moment it is coming down, we are suffering like hell. We are becoming jealous. Somebody is doing good. We are suffering. Somebody else is doing good, but we are suffering. Again, my identity compared to his identity is falling. Look at this. Right? IIP, if you understood what I meant. IIP means identity is paramount. Tomorrow we will see how we can handle this as well. Right? IIP, identity is paramount. Paramount means important, most important. And this we need to handle in order to make our life beautiful. And the last one, as we come to equality and unfairness trap. Equality and unfairness trap. It is about injustice that happens to us in life. So much of injustice happening. I struggled the entire year, put in all my efforts and all my time, but somebody else got promotion because he or she is close to the boss, having some proximity to the boss, having some connections or network. I suffer in that. So much of injustice. I put in so much of efforts, but injustice, unfair. Similarly, you studied so hard, somebody else gets the result. You have so much of other, things that you're doing, positive things that you're doing, and somebody else is doing bad thing to you. This happens. I trying to help somebody and he is actually deserting me. Again, this is unfairness. I recall one incident that happened with me a few years ago. I was standing in a queue, long queue. It was not moving, very slow moving, long queue to get ticket. And suddenly we found somebody, a very powerful guy, definitely having 2 bodyguards. He chose not to be in the queue. He straightway went to the counter and asked the ticket counter person to get some ticket, got the ticket and got away with it. I was fuming inside, boiling inside. What the nonsense? What is happening here? How can this happen? This country is like this. Nothing will happen. And all of them probably in that queue were feeling the same way. Suddenly I recalled. I said, what am I doing? One bad thing has happened. He has already done that and is gone away with that. Now I'm actually hurting myself. I'm hurting myself. I'm not telling him. I did not have the courage to tell at that point in time. Probably prudent not to say that at that point in time. And next, I'm hurting only myself. Then I used as a quick little hack. I said, sometime I also know somebody in some office, some places, and some friend somewhere in a good office. I take advantage. I say, I'm so fortunate. I have a friend. I'm lucky. I'm having this, I thank God. I thank that fellow. That time I never say it's unfair because I am getting the benefit. So why should I unnecessarily curse myself when that person has already gone? That time it helped. But let me tell you, in reality, in some time in life, injustice is to such extent, to such intensity, very, very difficult to handle. Sometimes we curse our fate. Why this to me? People suffering from cancer, people suffering from other diseases. Why this to me? Why this happened to me? Again, unfairness. We curse nature, God, or whatever. Then this again creates internal agony, pain, and misery. If you understood so far, if you understood these so far, just mention HUMANE. If you understood all the elements of the human trap, if you understood all the elements of the human trap, just write HUMANE, stands for the human trap. And now the task for you. The task for you is in your notebook, you have to score yourself. You have to rate yourself in a scale of 1 to 10. What is your predominant trap? We are going to share this template with you. You'll get a link. When you click on that link, you will get this template so that you can recall back and you can again revise it and rate yourself in the scale of 1 to 10 in the human trap. And then you have to write which is your predominant trap, maybe which are your predominant traps, 1 or 2 or 3. Some people also ask me a very pertinent question that I'm having all the traps in my life, not just you. That's the reason why it is human trap. All the human beings have all the traps in their life. Only thing that we are trying to find out, which is the most top predominant, so we can handle there. That is causing the most misery to my life. So all of them will be there. Sometimes you'll find they are overlapping. In fact, I was giving example to someone. He said, I have one trap, but I don't know where to, one problem which is causing multiple. Yes, it will happen. We can see it in different forms. one of my members in the advanced community, he said, actually, Sandeep ji, I lost my promotion. So which trap is that? I said, why you lost it? He said, somebody else was connected. I said, then it is unfairness. He said, yes, it's unfairness trap. I said, well, after that, what happened? He said, I felt really, really bad. Why did you feel bad? Because my status, he got, I did not get. So my neighbor, my other colleague said, you did not get it, your status. So you have a name, fame, status trap also? He said, yes, yes, yes. What else happens? He said, now he becomes the boss and he has more freedom. So autonomy trap, he can have more people, more directions he can give and you have to follow. So autonomy trap. Relationship, your relationship with him also has been little affected with your boss and with that fellow. Relationship trap affected. Uncertainty now, next year, will I get the promotion? And you are remembering that promotion loss and suffering from it. So one incident can also be in everything. It can affect all the things. I shared this example just to make you appreciate. Have you all got it very clear? Write CC once more. Yeah, someone is writing, I cannot get my trap among these. It cannot happen. Let me give you some example. If you are suffering because of past memory, it is human trap, holding on trap. If you are always feeling anxiety for the future, just check, it is the uncertainty trap. Because of relationship you are suffering, relationship trap. Autonomy, that means stress is more, you are more loaded with work. More of the time you do not have time for yourself, autonomy trap. No money, you're suffering, struggling because of money, autonomy trap, because money gives you some kind of autonomy and also status. If you're struggling for money and not able to manage your things, it is autonomy trap. If your money is less than others and you're feeling you should have earned more, it is a status trap. Yeah. Jealousy can be status trap. So find out what is it. You definitely would be able to find it out. Yeah, crystal clear, all of you. Last trap is injustice, unfairness, inequality. People, you feel that you are suffering because of injustice, unfair treatment by others. Yeah. So now, okay, I'll just unmute. Can you raise your hand? I'll just take one question today because it's already getting late. Can we do one thing? We'll go for the one very powerful task today. Our journey is to realize our happiest version. It's a journey. Now, what we need to do today is we have to commit to certain processes. We have to commit to certain learning that we have gone through, or certain techniques that we will learn now. So I would urge all of you to please be committed to the tasks that we are going to share with you. The tasks that we are going to share with you. There are two tasks. One, the task which we mentioned, that human trap, you have to rate it, take a screenshot or take a photograph of it and post it in the WhatsApp group. And we'll go through your task, and that task is we'll be looking at. There is another task which we'll do, which we'll suggest right now, and that we'll do together. And if you can do it now, it will be great. All the people who are going to complete the tasks, all the people who are going to complete the tasks, we are going to give you a special gift. And the special gift is, I'll be sharing one more book with you. And that's E-State of the Devas. That's my first book. If you all want this, just write gift and I commit. So GIC, gift, I commit to the tasks. Please do write that. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Lovely. Great. Now the task number 2, which is the important one. And this I'll be sharing the science behind it on day number 3. Now, what is it that you need to do? Right now, please sit still for a moment and write down, take a piece of paper. You have to take a piece of paper, either you tear it from your notebook or get a fresh piece of paper. We'll just take about 2 minutes time for this. And on that paper, you have to write down with all settled mind, as if you're writing as a third person. Whatever pain, misery, difficulty, challenges, sufferings that you are going through at this point in time in your life. Whatever are the things which are causing sufferings, you have to write that down on that piece of paper. And it should not be very elaborate. It can be 1 or 2 sentences. In the bracket, you can put which trap does it come from? Which is the trap it is coming from? Let's say some past memory is hurting you. Just write that thing and put H, as it is a holding on trap. You are scared because probably you are terrified whether you lose your job or something. Just write uncertainty trap, writing that. 2 or 3 major causes of sufferings in your mind, and put that bracket, in the bracket put that thing, the trap it is coming from, originating from. Emotions can be multiple, but it is originating from a trap. So you have to write, identify that trap. After completing this, let's all write it. Let's take about a couple of minutes time to write it. Let me stop sharing. All of us, let's come on camera. Just write it down, taking just about 60 seconds or so. And when you are writing it, relax your body, relax your mind, and just write it. With relaxed state of being, you're writing it down. Whatever that is causing pain, agony, misery, discomfort, and leading to sufferings in your life. Just write down that much. You have to write it on a fresh piece of paper. After you complete that, what you need to do is, you have to take a bowl, preferably a crystal ball or a glass bowl, and put that paper inside. You can do it after we complete the course, complete this session today. Put that paper inside and take a matchbox and lit it up, fire it up. And when you're firing that paper, when it is burning, relax your body as much as you can. Just look at that fire and just tell to yourself, I destroyed my sufferings today. Repeat to yourself in your mind, looking at that fire and relaxing your body as much as you can, taking deep breath, deep, very relaxing breath, and saying that I have destroyed my sufferings today. I have destroyed my sufferings today. Yeah. Just, you need to write that I have destroyed my sufferings today. As you lit up that paper, and I'll explain the reason why, whatever experience that will have, why it happened. What is the reason why it happened? Before we conclude, would you like to have the recording of today's session? I understand some of the things that we have gone through may not be, if you can just write yes. If you'd love to have the recording of the session, please do write yes. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. So I will be sharing the recording of the session. It will be a link, YouTube link. So please do watch that recording. And I would urge all of you to go through that once again, because I know there are some things which are pretty new, pretty first time you're doing it. So please go through the recording and then you can understand it more. I would urge all of you to also please take the please subscribe to the channel, because we are going to share a lot of positive things in that, a lot of powerful stuffs in that particular channel. Already you have shared a lot. So please do subscribe to the channel as well. So we'll be sharing that recording maybe after processing of this recording. And before we conclude for the day today, I would just like to know, what is your feedback for the session? How do you feel it? Good, powerful, valuable, great, excellent, outstanding, whatever. Excellent, great. Thank you very much for all your wonderful, wonderful responses. I would urge all of you to please reflect. Today's session was about awareness. It's a journey. It's not something that will happen like a magic. If you're thinking like that, this is not the place. You have to go through the journey, but it's not like you have to go for months together. Few days, and you'll see that a change is happening inside you. Powerful changes happening just in 7, 8, 10 days time. If you're following the practices, you'll find how powerful are they. Thank you very much. Amazing, aha, excellent, great, valuable. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the wonderful, kind words that you have flushed me with. Thank you very much. Before we conclude the session, before we come to the end of the session, let's take a pause and let us appreciate that so many people on this planet are suffering because of very many reasons. And let's, for a moment, pray for their well-being, happiness, so that all of us on this planet flourish, grow, and have a wonderful time, wonderful journey of life. Thank you very much. And may God bless all of us for our well-being, our growth, our evolution on this fascinating journey that's called life. Thank you so much. Look forward to see you again at 7:30 tomorrow. Take care and good night. God bless all of us.